Money mantra. Money mantra. Manage your mind. Manage your money. You will fall behind if you do not train your mind. If you want to change that, go to mindstate.biz, join the peak and tune in for live meditation and brain training and take your performance to yet another level. Enter code MONEYMANTRA for an exclusive discount. That's mindstate.biz. All right, my people. We are here once again with another episode of the Money Mantra. I am your host, Visual, and today we have a clinical mindfulness expert and consultant, spiritual wellness coach, an all-around awesome person. I'm going to introduce you to Miss Zen. How you doing, Miss Zen?
I'm feeling pretty zen.
All right. I love that. That's what I'm talking about. I love it. The energy is on point. We have a full moon. It feels so good right now.
The supermoon, sure.
Supermoon. You are correct. Supermoon. So
this supermoon is the last you'll see in your lifetime, believe it or not.
Oh my goodness. I did not realize that. Now I'm going to have to appreciate it even more than I did.
Indeed.
Wow. All right. I love it. So, Ms. Zen, you know this is the money mantra, and we're going to get right into this. I want to know, what is your money mantra?
My money mantra is about taking a risk. So my sort of my key phrase is "let's do this." So my philosophy is if you don't feel scared, then it's not worth doing. So you've got to put it out there and take a risk. And that's not always easy to do if you don't feel secure, if you don't feel that you can attract that money. So it's about very much following the law of attraction philosophy. So even if you feel you're in a place where you can't do it, you just do it anyway.
Awesome. I love that philosophy. And tell me, what does this mantra mean to you?
The law of attraction mantra is about changing your mindset and changing your approach to money. So it's about training yourself to have an abundance mindset, as I call it. So seeing yourself as always abundant. So sometimes we put blockages and fears in the way because we don't already have the money. And it's not about physically having the money, it's about having the money mindset.
Definitely. I agree with that 100%. So let me ask you this. Please let us know exactly what your different streams of revenue are and how you earn them.
Okay, I've got quite a few different streams of revenue. As you know, I'm a clinical mindfulness expert, so I love to do teaching, training, workshops, one-to-one mindfulness sessions. And that includes the personal coaching sessions. Then I also, so when I'm not touring around teaching and training, I'm also a spiritualist. So I run a couple of different spiritual groups and teach other people how to develop their spiritual health. I also work as a healer, a spiritual healer. I'm also an angel intuitive, so I offer angel tarot consultations as well and guidance, and I enjoy writing as well, so sometimes I'm paid to write or blog for other people as well.
Awesome. I love that. So we know you get money, we know you know how to attract it to you. We know you're very focused and mindful about what you want and how to get it.
Yes.
But it hasn't always been that way, and I know there's been a hard time. So please, in detail, give us that moment in your life during your worst financial time.
Okay, so I was sort of trying to think about that question, and not everybody has this experience, but many people will have had the experience of becoming a parent. And for me, when I became a mother, and I remember holding my son in my arms and just suddenly realising that I'm responsible for this little life. And it was a very precarious time. I was very young. I'd left my job. I was looking after my child. I didn't have any source of income. I was thinking, how am I going to support myself? how am I going to give this child a future? And probably at the lowest point, financially, and like having my basic needs met, even being able to keep a roof over my head, and pay the bills. And I think there's just something very real and shocking that happens when you, like I say, when you're cradling a child in your arms and you realise I'm actually responsible for this life now, not just my own. How am I going to provide for another person? That just really gave me that massive kickstart to, this isn't just about me anymore. I've got somebody here to provide for, and you're forced then to change your mindset.
Wow. Yeah. So, could you tell me what exactly did you learn from that situation? Once you brought a child into this world, and things had to change. What did you learn from that?
What my child gave me, and I'm sure many parents can relate to this, is absolute utter determination, fierceness, and perseverance. When you've got somebody else to provide for you, you just can't give up. It's not an option, is it? You just cannot give up. So that focus, that determination I have, it doesn't matter what obstacles come in my way, it doesn't matter what obstacles get put in my way. I find a solution, I find a way around it. I find a way over it, under it, round it, on top of it, squash it, whatever it is that I need to do, because I've got my goal in mind, what I want to achieve. And so I had all the odds stacked against me. I had a small baby, I had no qualifications, I had no support, I had nobody around me, no family. It was just me and my child, and I was thinking, how do I provide for this child? What can I do? And I got a job. I went back to night school. I decided that I was going to go to university. My son was 6 months old when I went to university. I was studying full time. I was working. I was looking after him. And like looking back, and people say, how was this possible? How did you do it? But I wanted to get my diplomas, I wanted to get my degrees, and now I'm a qualified doctor.
I love that. I love how you describe that you find your way around it, above it, under it, whatever. You found a solution. I love that. I love that.
Nothing gets in my way. Anything. I'm such a creative thinker. I feel absolutely blessed by the universe that, that I have this capacity, this resilience, this inner core of resilience. And I do thank my child for that. That's what determination that child brought to me. I think it was always there, don't get me wrong, visual, even from my childhood. I always had that resilience. But the fact that I managed to find this way around things is because you have to, necessity, needs, must. It just drives you forward. People ask, don't they, what drives you, what makes you feel driven? And that's what makes me feel driven. There's a real gain when, it's so like a triumph when you think, there's such a massive obstacle in front of me, I can't see how I'm ever going to overcome that obstacle. And I work hard. In my own mind, it's not always physical, but in my mind, I'm just batting around ideas. Well, what if I tried this? And what if I tried that? And this is why I love coaching, because we throw out the questions, have you tried it this way? Have you tried it that way? And it's never to be underestimated how powerful that is, actually trying different avenues. And there's not one thing yet I haven't found a solution for. I always find it in the end.
I love that attitude. That's the best approach I could think of. So tell me this, Ms. Zen. I know there had to be something recent, maybe 2016, maybe 2015, maybe a week ago, maybe a few months ago, that you changed about yourself for your own personal development. There had to be something. So please tell us about that and what made you make that change.
Well, there's been a number of them, to be honest, Visual, but a really significant one, which I like to share with people because I think it kind of resonates with people, is that we often I hear people saying, oh, I've tried to make this shift, I've tried to make this change, but actually it's a habit and I can't do it. And they talk about lack of willpower, and I can totally relate to that. And one of the things that I did that I felt quite pleased with myself, which was part of my personal growth, is about just over a year ago, I decided to give up alcohol. And I didn't have a problem with alcohol. I drank moderately. It wasn't that I overused alcohol or anything like that. I just thought for my own spiritual growth, I just really felt that it affected my energy in a way that I didn't want it to. So I just got up one day and said, no more alcohol. And I've never had any since. And it's one of the best life choices, I think, that I've ever made, I'll be honest.
That is awesome. I love that. You knew you didn't even have a problem with it, but you wanted to take an extra step for your own spiritual guidance, and I love that. That's great. That's really great.
And it's one of those doing that. I suppose it happened on a couple of levels. One level was for me, what it did for me, both in terms of it's a positive step in my health, it's a positive step for my spiritual growth. But the big unexpected gain for me, visual, was what it did for everybody else. And that's another thing. I love to be an example, a teacher. I like where I can to help guide other people. And when I say to other people, oh no thanks, I don't drink alcohol, and they're curious about that, and I can say, well actually it's for my spiritual health, which isn't the usual answer you would expect. All right, or they just see me turning away alcohol. It's so unusual, it's so outside maybe of their range of experience. I could sit down and have a meal without a glass of wine, or go to a party and not have a glass of wine. And I think that's so magical, really, that it's so outside their experience that each time I'm not doing that, they're having an experience of somebody not doing that, and they're curious about that, and then they're learning, oh, it's about her spiritual health, and what does that mean, and why can't you have alcohol? And it just opens up those questions that are about self-discovery.
Definitely. I love that. That's really a great approach. Really a great approach. So listen, Ms. N, we're going to take a short break right now to plug in everyone with some of the people that support the podcast, and then we're going to get right back to these last few questions. So my friends, stay in tune with us. This is the Money Mantra, your host Visual. We'll be right back. What's good, my people? So I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but video has 135% greater organic reach over audio, photos, or other type of media posts. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, a podcaster, an artist, or anyone else trying to get an audio message across, the best way to do this is to combine it with video and photo. And you could do this at wave.video. That's WAVVE.video. Just go to their website. You could get a free account. And if you need any support, contact them. I've personally been able to work with Baird Hall. He's the founder. He's an awesome guy. He helped me set up everything for Money Mantra. So please go to wave.video. That's WAVVE.video. All right, my people. We are right back with Ms. Zen on the Money Mantra. And we're going to get into these last final questions right here. And our first question right off the top is, Ms. Zen, what is your biggest challenge when dealing with money?
My biggest challenge when dealing with money is perhaps the record keeping and recording, like how to chase up people that still haven't paid me money, or how to, record down what I've earned. And so one of the biggest things I've learned is to outsource it to other people. If you really don't want to deal with it, get them to do the accounts for you.
Sure, that helps. How about personal mindset? What is your biggest challenge there?
Well, I think my biggest challenge is the same as everybody else's biggest challenge, which is knowing your value, knowing your worth. How do you set a price when you're the product? How do you decide what it is that you're worth? And it's something I coach a lot of people on, and I've had to coach myself on as well, in feeling comfortable with me being able to decide what I can charge for me.
I agree with that. That's a good one. How about your biggest strength when dealing with money? What is that?
Well, coincidentally, my biggest strength is like the opposite of my biggest weakness, which is obviously not having any fear, not being afraid to take a financial risk, invest in something that perhaps other people might not have the creativity or vision to see it through to fruition. So lots of people would say to me, oh, that's never going to work, or why would you be getting involved in that? Whereas I could see the potential. So I think that's probably my biggest strength, seeing the potential.
That's great. How about your strongest personal mindset?
My strongest personal mindset is that we live in a universe of abundance. So I just don't buy into, that was a bit of a pun, I didn't intend to do that, but I don't accept we live in a place of lack. So although we see people and impoverished situations around us, I don't accept that there is not enough for everyone. There is enough resources around for everyone. It's more how we make use of those resources.
I agree. So every day, you rise, you shine. I want to know, what is the greatest thing about every single day to you?
For having the breath in my body, which is a real mindfulness approach. So sometimes we look to seek gratitude in the larger things, but when you bring yourself to rest and just take a mindful moment and actually just recognize the life force energy that's going in as you breathe into your lungs. And even today I was thinking about it with somebody, just the oxygen in my lungs, the fact that we have trees, the fact that they help create the oxygen so we can breathe and exist. That's what being physically alive is about.
I love that. I always like to tell people, if you're breathing, you are blessed. So,
absolutely, 100%.
Great one. So tell us, do you have a daily routine or a habit that keeps you focused on your goals?
I do. I have lots of daily routines. There's lots of ways in which I sort of coach myself and prime my mind every day. Being able to do mantras around abundance, being able to meditate, being able to show gratitude. But I think showing gratitude is the biggest one, because you can do that it's like a practice you can do all day long, showing gratitude for what you have. And it makes the abundance flow. If you offer gratitude, like something small like the oxygen in your lungs, then cash, money, abundance, which is part of those things, comes to you. The more you give out, the more is received in, and your giving is your gratitude, the giving of gratitude.
Most definitely. Do you have an app, software, or service, or any other type of resource that helps you with your money mantra?
Yeah, I've got lots of different sort of tools that I use. I tend to look at different apps constantly to see if there's anything new on the market. At the moment, I'm using The Secret to Money, which is a law of attraction app. That's quite a cool app. I use different wish manifestation apps. I record some of my affirmations, money affirmations, just on my iPad and on my phone and things like that. And I have quite a few different spiritual mantras and prayers that they have, like pop-ups that you can set that come at different times of the day to remind me about my mindset.
Excellent.
So I use a lot of the angel ones, a lot of the kind of Hay House ones and Doreen Virtue ones.
Nice, very nice. I like that. I might have to look into those. Do you have a book or a film that you recommend? And please tell us why.
A book or a film? Gosh, that's so hard. I've read literally probably thousands of books in my lifetime. It's hard to pick one. Let me think. A book about money.
Not necessarily. Maybe something that just resonates with you personally, that you feel is kind of a guide in your life.
Okay, one of my favourites is probably Eckhart Tolle, Practicing the Power of Now. It's a guide to spiritual enlightenment, but it's really good for in terms of your money mantras, because sometimes we try to forecast ahead. I don't know if you've done that, and people do that. Like, where am I going to be financially in so many years' time, or how can I predict what my income's going to be? But actually, I'm obviously all about the mindfulness then. If you're practicing being in the here and now, you're actually open and ready to receiving what's going to come to you right now, and that leaves your arms open for abundance. And sometimes that's the hardest practice, just actually being in the here and now. So this book by Eckhart is like a guidebook that goes alongside his book Power of Now. So it's a good reference book for you to look to. He's really easy to read, and he's on YouTube as well, his teachings as well. So he's a great spiritual guide.
Awesome. So tell me... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was going to say another book that's really sort of shaped me is Ask and It Is Given. The teachings of Abraham, Esther Hicks. I would recommend that for anybody as well.
Ask and it is given.
And that's a good little mantra to have, and that's kind of another little mantra that I follow. Ask and it is given. And it literally works like that. If you ask the universe, it's a concept called cosmic ordering. So you put in your order, what is it that you feel like you want today? Well, I'd like to order, a couple of $1,000. So you ask that out there for the universe, and you leave the universe to bring it to you. So you don't do the hard work of trying to work for it, the universe will bring you it.
I love that concept. I love that.
It works.
I'm definitely learning that myself. It's something that I've begun to establish within my own practices, and I realize that it truly does work. The universe does give what you need and want.
It does. It's just remembering to show that gratitude when it turns up, isn't it?
Most definitely. That is definitely the most important part. I agree with that. So tell me, if you were to have $1 million, Ms. Zen, what would you do with that? This is a question I've probably thought about since I was a child. I know you've thought about it many times, and I really want to know, what would you do with that $1 million?
Well, I think we're probably all striving for the same thing in life, and it's a natural want of all humans to just feel secure. So I think my million, I would create a base where I feel secure, I would provide for, make sure all provisions are there for obviously my child, and make sure I got my needs met. You've got the home and the car that I desire. They're kind of your basic needs. And then obviously what I'd probably do is just reinvest it into people, being able to employ more people to work for me, so I could free up a bit more space and time so I can do more creative ventures, so I'm not as task orientated.
Love that. That's right. Free up some time to enjoy life.
I mean, I have that freedom, but I think what money can do in some ways, it's not that the money buys the freedom, but what happens is, if you can you're giving back. If you can actually employ other people and you're giving them secure employment, then what it actually frees me up to do is to generate more ideas, which is something I like to do. So actually having the time to meditate and see what comes to you, and then you have a flood of ideas, but you maybe don't have the time and the resources to actually implement them. But when you've got more money, you can actually act on more ideas. So it's quite good fun.
Yeah. Awesome. I love that. So, Ms. Zen, we're wrapping up now. I just want to hear some final advice from you, and please definitely tell us where we could find you anywhere online or any information you'd like to share.
Okay, so I'm really easy to find online because there's not many Miss Zens about. So all you do is you just type into Google Miss Zen 222. That's my angel number, the number 2, and I will come up. At the moment, I'm on Facebook, and I will have a website, but it's not out there yet. But my company is called Pause for Thought. So you can have a look on there, and it's the same on Twitter. So my Twitter handle is at pause, the number 4, thought 14. So you can find me on Twitter, and on Instagram, it's mindful_coach_leads. So you can also Skype me on that as well. So I do work internationally, so I do my coaching and my angel intuitions worldwide as well, so people can get in touch with me about those. And I guess my final words are just feels really powerful what we said about, especially where we are at the minute with universal energies, about asking and it is given, and just not having the fear to ask for exactly what you want. And really what I've learned, and I keep learning, and it's been learning this week, is about really thinking big. So when you think you've had a big thought, think even bigger and ask for that.
Awesome. Ms. Zen, thank you once again for your time. And as always, to our listeners and to you, I wish you nothing but peace, blessings, and hundreds of lessons. This is the Money Mantra.